Hey guys, it's Tony with Wood Tramp Outdoors. Back in 2018, we ran a special edition issue of Backwoods Biker magazine, and one of the articles that we put in there, this is for the Gear Review Expeditions. One of the articles that we put in there was on tarps, and at that time we had received numerous tarps, probably 15 of them, and not all of them made it into the article. And then we chose what tarp we felt like was the best one. And again, just like anything else that we do, is because you wrote us and said, check out this company that makes these tarps. We dropped that article, and almost immediately we started getting emails saying, why didn't you put in this particular company, or why didn't you put in that particular company? You know, always get that type of stuff. And one of those companies that was mentioned was Dutchware Gear. And at that time, I hadn't heard of Dutchware Gear. Don't hate me for that, but I hadn't heard of him. We just let it go because we weren't going to do another article on tarps until something came along that was really impressive and caused us to hit the pause button and take another look. Well, about I don't know, a year ago, we started getting emails again asking us, hey, have you ever seen any equipment or gear by Dutchware Gear? Have you seen the tarps? Have you seen their hammocks? And again, I had not, but it made the juices start to flow again. And so I reached out to Dutchware Gear and said we were going to be doing another project. Would he be interested in being involved? And Tom Ressler, who happens to be the owner, and he goes by Dutch, he said he would, and he sent us this right here that's in my hand. This is a tarp that's in here. That's what we're going to talk about today. So hang tight, I'll be right back. All right, guys, just a quick backstory on Dutch. Dutch grew up an outdoorsman. His family was big into the outdoors. He was a Boy Scout. Deer hunting was a big deal to them. And one of his favorite memories, I wrote this down in my notes when I interviewed him, was being in a deer camp. So he's got that foundation of dirt under his fingernails, and then when he was a young man back in 2001, I think it was, he decided to walk the entire Appalachian Trail, 2,200 miles, and he did it with a tarp and a hammock and whatever other gear that he could carry. And in that 2,200 miles, he learned a lot about what you really do need, what you don't need, and he came up with some improvements in his head that he has turned into some of the most dynamic changes and innovations in the corporate world of outdoor gear. And this is the tarp that he sent me. We're not reviewing the hammocks today. We might do that in the future, but right now we are doing this hammock, and this tarp. And what he sent me is a Dyneema tarp that is 12 by, we're going to call it 12 by 9. It's real close to 9 feet across. And it is one of the most impressive tarps that I've ever seen, if not the most impressive. And the reason I say that is because that this guy has not only taken a piece of material, turned it into a rectangle configuration, and put loops and things like this on it, but he has taken his experience and put it into the design of this tarp. And that's kind of what I want to talk to you about, the three areas that, for me, whenever I am doing a study or I'm researching a piece of equipment, all equipment, I look at the materials that's being used. Number two, I work at the design / features that went into that piece of equipment. And then of course, into the craftsmanship, judging it, based upon, how's this look? How's it work? How's it feel? What's the durability? And that's what we're going to do with this tarp today. We've had this up many times, and I'm going to talk about it, everything that I can think of. And if I happen to miss something, then you can tell me down in those comments down there, and I'm sure that Mr. Dutch will tell me as well. So hang tight, and I'm going to start deploying this thing for you so you can see it. I did want to make mention, about the weight of this. Again, this is a 12x9 rectangular, and the way that I put this together is really simple. When I am putting it back away, I leave all the cordage, every guy line, every tie out, the ridge line. You can see how I have it right here. It's all in here. And the way that he has configured this particular tarp for us, the ridge line is gray, and the tie outs, all the guy outs, are all black. So I know right away this is my first point right here. And in doing so, I'm going to just quickly point out something to you here. Is this? I want a close-up shot of this right here. This little guy right here is called a stingers, or a stinger, and there's two of them on there, stingers. It looks like a modified carabiner, but that would be really dumbing it down to say that. This is well thought out, well designed. This is made out of titanium, this particular one. And you're going to see what this is used for here. But he's got this one, he's got another one called a ringworm that I'll show you. So, but I wanted to get an up close shot of this. And this is called Zing It that he makes. We'll talk a little bit more about that as I go along. But I did want to make mention that the total weight of this, with the stuff sack and all the cordage still attached, and these little pieces of hardware that are on here, it still only weighed 11.5 ounces, which is, it's mind-blowing when you think about it. That's one of the great things about using Dyneema and the type of cordage that he uses. So let me deploy this for you, and we'll probably just fast forward it to you as we go. Be right back. All right, so I've got it deployed, and in this configuration here, this could be used as a hammock setup like this. It's in an A-frame, or you could use it in the summertime for ground camping if you want to. I'll show you here in a bit what it looks like with a porch up on it. But before I get into all that, I just wanted to talk about those three areas and why Dutchware Gear checks all those boxes. Number one, again, let's talk about the fabric. Dyneema is a remarkable fabric for sure. It's been around for years. But, you know, in our experience, no one has really done what Dutch has done to put this fabric into a tarp the way that he's done it. The benefits of Dyneema, of course, number one is that it's very light. Number two, it is extremely durable. Rain will not penetrate in it. Set up correct, it's not going to rip in the rain, excuse me, in the wind and rain, driving rain. It's just tank tough all around. Downsides to it is it's got a shelf life on it. And I asked Dust, give me an estimate, what can I expect out of this tarp? And what he said to me was, under heavy use, 5 years. And then you have to ask yourself, well, what's heavy use? Is that every day out in the woods? Is it, once a month, twice a month? Yeah, I mean, it's just dependent on the individual. But I can tell you, if you are one of those guys that you're not a professional guy that does this every day, and you're someone that, you take it out on a hunt 3 or 4 times a year, or maybe you do go out twice a month, I would say that this tarp would last you probably double that, probably about 10 years, under not heavy use, but normal use, 8 to 10 years just to be safe. And the reason that it has the shelf life on it is because Dyneema, you just don't wad it up and put it in a stuff sack like a xenon tarp or a nylon tarp, Ceylon, whatever. You don't stuff it in a stack like that. You actually have to fold this up and roll it a little bit, and there's only so many ways that you can do that effectively and get it back in the stuff sack, especially with the way that we've done it, where we leave the ridge line on and we leave all the guy lines on it, just to make it a quick setup. And what happens every time that you do that, you're folding that, Dyneema can break down the fabric, the threads inside the Dyneema can actually start to break down, and then in time it'll probably leak. But again, that's a long time, 8 to 10 years, could be even longer if you're a guy that just goes out once a month or once a summer even, and that leads me to the next negative thing, is the price point. Dyneema is not cheap in anything that you find it in, especially not when you have a piece of fabric this size, 12 foot by 9 foot. I don't know the price point on this particular setup that Dutch sent us, but just in general, I know that Dyneema is expensive. But the backside of that is you get what you pay for. You are going to invest in a piece of equipment that's not going to fail you. It's not going to break your back when you're humping it out into the woods, out to your deer camp. To me, it is well worth it. And you've heard me say that all the time. The return on your investment is really not only dependent on your wallet, but also on your back and how many times you're going to be able to use it. Dyneema checks all the boxes, so that's the first thing. He hit the mark with the Dyneema there. Second thing is, let's talk about the design / features. As I told you in the beginning of this video, that Dutch walked the 2,200 mile AT, and in that, his brain is going, and he is thinking, what should go into a tarp, what should go into a hammock, what's the type of gear that I need. Well, he was more than just a dreamer in that regard. He took those dreams and turned them into reality, and you see that especially in this tarp. I've never seen a hammock, but I can tell you what I've seen in this tarp, and we'll get up close on it, but just as a general quick overview, the first thing that really stands out is that he doesn't use a sewing machine to put the two tarp halves together. All right, nobody makes a piece of Dyneema that is 10 feet long. All right, you can't buy a 12 by 10 solid piece. You got to put them together. And generally speaking, in the industry, sewing machines are used. So you got that seam that has all these needle points that run through it, right? And then, even though they say that we factory seam seal it, or they put seam tape on it, experience has taught us that before you ever deploy that, you need to put it up in your shop or in your backyard, and you need to put some seam seal on it. Not the commercial type that comes in little tiny tubes. You know, I've never liked that. But we dropped a video several years ago on how to make your own seam sealer, and it far surpasses anything that you will find on the commercial market. And it's very easy, just a couple of ingredients. All you use is Lexel clear silicone and some mineral spirits. That's it, you know, and you mix it up. See the video. But with his tarps, he doesn't use a sewing machine to put those halves together. He uses a special bonding system that he's come up with, and I'll get close to you there. He married with 3M, and I don't know if Dutch came up with the 3M adhesive that he uses for the bonding. It's a bonding agent that's specifically for what he does here. Not only does he use it on the ridge line, but he also uses it on every place that there is a tie-out point with a web stripe, a web strap that has a beastie D-ring on it. But he also puts it on the middle of the tarp. There's 4 areas on this tarp for pull-outs to give you more room underneath. You could probably see that, how I've got all 4, or I got 2 of them out on this side. But, you know, that to me is a game changer. And again, I have to believe it's because of what he's experienced. You know, we do have tarps that have some of these features, but they're all sewn in. And when you sew it in, man, you're saying, you know, I want you to rain at some point, because it will. There's a lot of tension on those areas, not with his. Other features are, again, you know, what I mentioned, the stingers that he's incorporated here with the 1.75 Zinget that he uses. That's the cordage, you know, the silver or the gray is up on the ridge line, and the black, and I think it might even be reflective black, all the way around the tarp. Now, generally speaking, most tarps this size will have 3 web straps. Maybe they'll have D-rings, maybe they won't. His has got 5 per side, so that's 10 along the perimeter, and then he's got 2 of the guy outs in the middle of the tarp on both sides. So now you have a total of 14 areas that you can pull out to make yourself more room. Okay, so that is pretty awesome as far as I'm concerned, because I'm a guy that likes to have some room under there. If I'm in a hammock, I don't like to have it feel like it's closing down on me. That's what's a beauty of using this ridgeline system with the zingers and these D-rings with the attached ringworm and the zinget that he has there, is that if you have it up when you first deploy it, weather's great, like this is right now. This is even a little bit low for summer months here, but it starts to rain and you see it's coming and you want to get it down. This is lightning fast. All you do is pop that zinger, lower, tighten it back up, do the same thing with your D-rings. You don't even have to unloosen those. All you do is, you don't have to take them off the stake. All you do is hit the D-ring, or excuse me, hit the ringworm, tighten up your cordage, put it back in that little area that friction holds it, and you're done. And really, it's just a matter of less than a minute. You could lower a system this size, less than a minute. That's so impressive, right? You know, when you talk about the features that are found in the different hardwares we only have 2 here with us. Again, the zinger and the ringworm. But he has scads of them on his website. I don't know what they are. I don't know what they do. I've just watched some of the videos and it's like, damn, this guy does not stop thinking. He's thinking when he's sleeping. And then you get to this cordage that he's come up with, what he calls Zinget. You know, it was a big thrill whenever the commercial world discovered, the commercial outdoor world discovered all the uses of 550 paracord. You know, in the military, you learn that right away. And, you know, we used it a lot. But when it hit the commercial market, it's like, oh, hey, have you heard with the latest and greatest thing? It's called 550 paracord. Well, if you've ever been in the military, it's like, okay. Well, that has been the standard for years for any type of cordage that has to do with hanging a tarp or putting up tents, either that or bank line of some sort. And bank line can be a booger to mess with. And the zinget that he has here, it comes in a variety of sizes, colors. But what I like about this is that I am confident that under any load, this, I think he said it's either 500 or 600 pound load before it breaks. That's a lot. That's a lot. But don't hold me to that. You know, I mean, look at the website, Dutchwaregear.com. But just the design of that really got us. Now, that takes me to my third point, construction. You know, how is it crafted, put together? There is no anomalies in this guy's construction process. He leaves no stone unturned. He's very meticulous in what he lets get out the door. I was reading the email before yesterday, day before yesterday, the last email that he and I had in contact, and he said, I'm going over this tarp before I send it out, which is good from a merchant standpoint, from a builder standpoint. You're sending a tarp out to a company that does reviews, you know, professionally for the magazine. You know, we've seen it all. And, you know, that impressed me that he himself, instead of pointing at somebody else, I mean, he wants to make sure that what gets out is perfect. And the design, materials, and now we're talking about craftsmanship. No anomalies, no areas on this tarp where I scratch my head and say, what was he thinking? Everything on this tarp is what I would call perfect. And I know that I'm going to get some doo-doo about that. That's the way it is. I've seen a lot of tarps, and I've seen a lot of people that have tried their very best to make the perfect tarp. But this right here, this is the first one that has ever impressed us the way it has. That bonding on the ridge line is brilliant, and it truly is a game changer. You don't have to put no seam sealer up there. And I'm going to show you here in just a second up close these features I'm talking about, and you'll see that not only does he use it up there, but he uses it around the tarp other places. So hang tight, let me get you up there. Okay, so what you're looking at here is the webbing strap with the Beastie D-ring. This is shock cord. This is the ringworm. I'll talk about from here on down in just a second. But I wish that you could see this here, but there is a half moon shaped of Dyneema material that is put on this particular tarp that acts as a reinforcement point, and then he actually sews on these straps, this webbing here, and he uses a very heavy stitching system. These are not coming off. The tarp is not going to rip. You know, we've yanked on this. We've done everything. Beastie D-rings have been around. I'm not sure if Dutch is the one that put them on the market or not. Wouldn't surprise me though. And then you talk about, you know, the features beyond this. Now, before I move, I want to tell you that there are 10 of these. All 10 of them around this tarp look just like this. Impeccable. They're not going to break down on you. They're not going to fail in any way, shape, or form. You also have them, let me back off here a little bit. Okay, you also have the same thing going on with these 4 side tie-outs, right? Under here is a full circle of Dyneema that is bonded to this tarp, and the web strap for this particular Beastie D-ring is incorporated in that, making a system. And again, this thing is rock solid for sure. All right, this is bonded. These are all bonded all around. And the only stitching that we've been able to really look at and see is right here where the D-ring was put into the web before the web was attached to the tarp. So there is no needles going in here at all. This is all bonded. So you got 10, 12, 14 areas that are bonded. They're not sewn at all. So you're not going to have water infiltration on this area right here. Where I showed you down on the bottom of the web strap where there is stitching, it's not going to rain into your shelter that way. It's there. It's on the bottom. Water's going to shed and it's just going to run off. It's not going to run in. So that is not a concern. Now I want to show you this right here. This is called the ringworm. How he came up with that nomenclature, I don't know. But this is one brilliant piece of equipment right here that I wish I'd have discovered this a long time ago. These are game changers as well. And they're so easy to use. All you gotta do is pull that cordage out. Right? And it loosens up. See that? Real easy. It's got what he calls the antenna right here on this area right here. It's called the antenna. And what you do is you take this cordage and you just pull this, the zinget, you pull it through here and you tighten it up as much as you want to, and then you just run it right through that antenna and just pull back a little bit. You don't have to manhandle it. Just get it in there and it marries in very slick. It's there. Now, while I'm here looking at this, you see the shot cord that's on here? That's another great idea that I think that he's incorporated in here. I'm going to loosen that up just a little bit. In the high winds, in the driving rain, you want some give and take. All around this tarp, you have a system that he has put together. It goes to the tarp with a piece of shot cord. The shot cord is then hooked onto the, the D-ring, or excuse me, the ringworm is hooked onto the shot cord, and then the zinget goes through the ringworm, and then the ringworm, the zinget goes all the way down to the stake where there is a static loop that he's put together. So you've got 1, 2, 3, and if you count the loop, that's 4 features on this tie-out right here. Now, I'm not sure if you can buy all this already put together for you, but to me, it's a no-brainer. It saves you time, effort, to go out and just, pay for that and have it done. Or, you can buy shot cord, do it yourself. You can buy these ringworms, and then you can buy the length of zinget that you want. But, to me, the loop on the end is pretty stinking dope. Yeah, I really think that this is super, super nice. So again, the hem on this has been sewn, but it is a very meticulous hem on this. Very tight. That's something that we look for. How tight is the stitching on a tarp? A lot of times companies kind of chintz on that because it's on the outside. But to us, even though this is in the middle of the perimeter and not on the bottom, it's still important. We've seen tarps rip here in the wind, but this is not going to rip. It's not going to come apart. It's very, very nice. Okay, so now what we're looking at here is the ridgeline. All right, you can actually see that. But you see here, there is no stitching at all on this. This is absolute. Oh, wait a minute. Come on here. Focus, 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 focus. Smooth as could be, and it's there forever. It's not going to come apart on you. Not at all. Brilliant, brilliant. Okay, here again, this is the zinger that is used for the ridgeline. And you can see here that it has a web strap right here with a Beastie D ring. This is a little bit bigger. And then you have the stinger here, and then you have the zinget. that acts as your actual ridge line itself, the way to tighten it up. But the way that these work, I mean, this is really, really nice, and I'm hoping I don't bump the camera. I'm out here by myself. But you just yank on this. Yeah, I put it in there too hard. Oh, there we go. All right, so to adjust, all you got to do is put it back in this little area. You tighten it by pulling it up, like I just did. Coming around into the antenna, and it just friction fits real easy. I had it too tight the last time. But on a tarp, you just can't beat this. I mean, you know, most guys use a continuous ridge line under their tarp and use a combination of a marlin spike hitch on one side and then a trucker's hitch on the other. To adjust those, you are out and about, and if it's cold out, let's say you're out on a deer hunt and it's November and it is, you know, 38 degrees and the wind is blowing and it's sleeting. I've been in those conditions and I've tried to work in those conditions, and what happens, your hands become very, very unruly. Your dexterity is lost and you're fumbling, you know, and you got to take off gloves. Not with this stuff right here. I mean, it's very, very simple. I love this, man. That's all you do. Just yank it out and then just adjust it up, just like that. Again, you can get on his website and see everything that he makes. Okay, we wanted to show you another feature that involves this ringworm. I mean, right now we have 3 of them out on this side right here on the perimeter. 2 on either end and then 1 in the middle. There's a little story behind that nobody's wanting to tell. But that is a feature that is very, very useful. Let me show it to you real quick right here. If you're wanting to use this as a one-sided panel, you know, just a lean-to, all you got to do, and you don't have to take these out of the ground, you don't have to do anything, just lay them down by your stake, right? And then flip it over. Okay, now I'm over on the other side. This is the panel that we just unhooked, and because of the size of the D-ring, excuse me, of the ringworm, all you got to do is put your cord back down in here and do that all around the perimeter here, and you have got a lean-to that's not going to blow all over the place. I'm not going to do them all, but you can see what I'm saying. That is such a benefit. All right, so behind me you can see I've put up a porch. This is great for summer months. If you want to, you know, do a little ground camping, put down a nice pad and your sleep system, you are protected very, very well, especially in a tarp this size. If you want to use it a little bit higher, you'd have to bushcraft some poles. I've obviously used trekking poles today, and I like those. I like to use trekking poles because it's just about the right height for me to put a small chair under there, a table, and I can sit, and I can still have room for my sleep system as well. So it's very easy to do that. All you do is take it off the stakes, and those beastie D-rings have a small hole in them, just small enough for your trekking pole post on the bottom. It's perfect for that, you know, so that's another way that you can deploy this. Really nice. I like it. There you have it. The Dutchware Gear Dyneema Tarp 12x9. I don't know what else I can tell you about this tarp, man. It is by far the most exceptional tarp that I've seen, that we've seen, that we've ever written about. And you can read the article at woodtrampoutdoors.com. The magazine is still free. You just pop on the link there, take you right out to it. The other thing that I wanted to make mention of, again, is check out his hammocks. Although I haven't seen any of his hammock systems or any of the gear that goes with his hammocks, we have got many emails, many comments especially after the article dropped, what was it, 2 weeks ago, in the most recent issue, the special edition for the summer. A lot of you folks have written and said, hey, you know, are you going to do a hammock? That's out for the jury right now. We don't know what's going on there, but everybody that has told me that they have them and have used them has given them very high marks. You know, so get out on his website. Again, it's dutchwaregear.com. Check it out. Check out all of his gear, because it'll blow your mind how much stuff is on there. If you're a do-it-yourselfer guy, he's got everything for you, from fabric to hardware to cordage, just everything. And just recently, I received an email that had a link to it, and I watched his Labor Day commercial. I didn't know it, but he also makes homemade. I mean, he does it himself. They're not homemade, but he makes the freeze-dried meals, and they look really, really healthy compared to a lot of the salt-ridden, MSG-ridden ones that are on the market today that everybody's eating. He's just got so much stuff on there, but he's got a sale going on out for Labor Day. So we're going to try to get this video processed and edited and out there in time for you to be able to see this and get out there and take advantage of the sales that he's got going on right now. The other thing that I wanted to make mention of is that we just sent him a drawing that we've been working on for literally for years on a shelter, an emergency shelter or an extreme shelter. That's all I'm going to tell you about that. And we've just been trying to find a manufacturer that we had enough confidence in to say, hey, look, we'd like for you to be the one that makes this for us. Well, we've reached out to Dutch, and we've got a conversation going on right now. And as soon as we have some solid information, I'll start sharing it with you. But yeah, we have been researching this for a long, long time. You know that you ought to have something to sleep in, something to sleep under, and something to sleep on. That's what our shelter's all about. It's called the Extreme. So, appreciate you watching. Thank you for reaching out and pushing us to look at Dutch's tarps. Marvelous. And we appreciate all your support, all your emails. Write some comments down there. Tell us what you think about this tarp. If you have a Dutchware piece of gear, write it in there. Let everybody know what you think. Like us, share us, tell your buddies about our channel. And yes, it's still Backwoods Biker channel, because I don't want to change it. Yeah, so that's it. Till next time, you guys stay safe out there no matter what you're doing, and get out to Dutchware Gear and get you a good tarp.